Alright, family. This one right here deserves your full attention. What we are listening to is Senator Lambert Brown speaking in the Jamaican Senate. And this is not just a debate on a bill. This is history, character, justice, and personal truth all colliding in one moment. This speech goes beyond politics. It speaks directly to how Jamaica treats its own people, especially when it comes to accusations, convictions, and second chances.
Thank you, President. I rise to contribute to the debate on this bill, conscious that I am among the majority of Jamaican citizens who have never run afoul of the law. Yes. I've never ran afoul of the law. In my 72 almost years on this earth, I have never been convicted nor have any need for expungement. So, President, it's against that background that I support the need for those of our citizens who may have infringed the law and been convicted to be given a second chance. Let's be clear. Every October, we teach our kids about our national heroes. And outside of October, too. Of the 7 national heroes, 4 were convicted. Sam Sharp, William Gordon, Paul Bogle, Marcus Garvey. And a 5th was charged for manslaughter, Alexander Bustamante, and tried. I made the point that we praise our national heroes, rightly so. Rightly so, rightly so.
I'm just asking to recognize that we passed legislation to expunge the conviction of all the 4 members that...
I was here when it happened. I was here when it happened. Point I'm making is that it is natural for us as Jamaicans to be forgiving and to recognize that that is the reality we face as a nation. I recognize the conviction of our heroes took place in a different context, but they were convicted. And as I said, 3 were executed, lost their life, paid the ultimate price. So much, Minister Dixon, that famous letter from the prison cell of George Gordon Williams must never be lost on our students. With the letter to his wife from the prison cell. In 2014, we passed legislation to expunge convictions like those for Toots and others. And some minister, and I think you, Senator Fitzgerald, spoke about people being blighted by convictions for ganja. We dealt with that in 2014. Senator Sinclair had a little difficulty because he felt it was too rigid. And I know you're going to speak next. But you have not come here to ask for abolition of the 3rd schedule. You are tweaking it. I recall you moving a resolution in the Parish Council in St. James about that.
She's going to amend the legislation.
So I start with that. But President, I can't end without pointing out to my friend, Senator Fitzgerald. It's one thing to come here and tell us how you support this bill. But every day, including today, you seek to sully my character, my reputation, because before you were born, I was arrested. I was arrested twice, Senator Morgan. Yes, it is about me, about people who the law has taken a certain position on. Some convicted, but like me, the first time, not Gateway, arrested at Meadowbrook High School for failing to move and keep on moving because I was defending workers' rights. I'm going to come to the BAM position. You wasn't even born. You wasn't even born. And you talk about BAM. Mr. President, on the 25th of October 1980, I was arrested. I was arrested. They come here and keep throwing barbs across the fence and say they agree with expungement. I was never even asked. I was never even asked to plead. I was never even asked to plead. There was no evidence against me. I wasn't even acquitted. The judge simply said, go on in your yard, we have nothing. But people like him is out there saying, I had bomb in my car. I had no car. I had no car in Hanover. I had no car in Hanover. No, I'm not trying to case the case. In fact, of the other people who were arrested, none of them was convicted. None of them need expungement. So, I can understand how people feel who were convicted. If when somebody wasn't convicted, they, on that side, descend to the gutter to speak about what I am. This is personal. This is personal. And if you press it, I will simply say, this guy, arrested in 1980, in 2007, was honored, like Chris Bovell, with the Order of Distinction Commander Class. I'll tell you where I buy it from after. I'll tell you where I buy it from after. Outside, I'll tell you where I buy it from. So, I made the point that 46 years after, almost 46 years, they still use that. And I was never convicted, much as the people were convicted. And some of them convicted wrongly. And I make that point because just last year, in this Senate, Minister Arbin Hill spoke about ex-convicts in a disparaging manner about ex-convict being at the 2024 conference of the PNP. One of those so-called ex-convicts have received the blessing of the people of East Portland and now sits in the other place as a member of parliament. Delroy Chuck, in 2019, promised this bill. And therefore, ill, Fitzhenley, and those who disparage people, some who have never been convicted, and those convicted, they come here now championing support for the people, when in truth and in fact, their position represents that of hypocrites. I can proudly say, I am not sorry for my past. I will leave the Senate at some point, but I will do so holding my head.
Thank you, Senator Brown.
I'm not finished.
I'm just saying that we appreciate that.
Holding my head, knowing that people like you all, find it easier to reside in the gutter. I will take the high road. May it please you, Mr. President.
From the very start, Senator Lambert Brown sets the tone. He makes it clear. He is not someone who has lived outside the law. In almost 72 years of life, he has never been convicted. That matters because he is not approaching this conversation from guilt or self-interest, but from principle. He is saying, even though I don't need expungement, I still support it for those who do. And that alone is leadership. Then he does something very important. He reminds us of Jamaica's national heroes. Every October, we proudly teach our children about Sam Shep, Paul Bodge, George William Gordon, Marcus Garvey, and others. But what we often leave out is the uncomfortable truth. Several of these heroes were convicted and some were even executed. Today we honor them. Yesterday the system condemned them. That comparison is not accidental. Senator Lambert Brown is forcing us to confront a hard reality. The law is not always the same as justice. History proves that convictions can be political, colonial, and deeply unjust. As the speech progresses, you can feel the shift. It becomes personal. He addresses the repeated attempts to strain his name over an arrest in 1980. No conviction, no evidence, no plea. A judge simply said, "Go on your way." Yet for over 40 years, that incident has been recycled to attack his reputation. That tells us something powerful. Sometimes the punishment isn't prison. It's permanent suspicion. He also reminds us that arrest came while he was defending workers' rights. That context matters. This wasn't criminal behavior. It was resistance. And throughout history, resistance has always been criminalized before it is celebrated. What really stands out is when he calls out the hypocrisy directly. Supporting expungement in parliament while publicly degrading so-called ex-convicts is not consistency. It's inconvenience. You cannot claim to stand for justice while weaponizing stigma. And when he references individuals who were once labeled ex-convicts but later elected by the people and now serve as members of parliament, it becomes clear. The people have already forgiven, even when politicians haven't. His declaration, "I am not sorry for my past," is one of the strongest moments of the speech. That is not defiance. That is dignity. It's the refusal to bow to shame when you know the truth. The closing is just as powerful. He says he will leave the Senate one day with his head held high, choosing the high road while others choose the gutter. That line alone speaks volumes about character, resilience, and self-respect. This was not just a defense of expungement legislation. This was a reminder that Jamaica's progress depends on how honestly we confront our past and how fairly we treat our people. Senator Lambert Brown's speech challenges us to move beyond hypocrisy, beyond selective morality, and toward a justice system rooted in humanity. This is the conversation Jamaica needs to have and keep having.